Fine dining chef John Currence, best known for his restaurant City Grocery in Oxford, Mississippi, opened the first Big Bad Breakfast in Oxford in 2008, based on an idea that began to take hold during a hunting trip.
It dawned on me on that trip that I had spent my entire career to that point focusing on elevating lunch and dinner service and creating as interesting and as well put together dishes as we could, for those meal periods. Nobody at that time, had really approached breakfast in that same way. And so my thought was, wow, what if we did a full, chef's look at breakfast where we made everything ourselves?
It has since grown to 26 locations throughout the southeastern United States, with the most recent location having opened in November in Atlanta. And they make everything from scratch, including seasonal jellies, jams, and apple butter, essentially taking a fine dining approach to breakfast.
We could create whatever we wanted to in those days and throw an egg on it and call it brunch. And so, you saw things like pozole, and we ran all kinds, like a goat pozole, butter chicken. I mean, just any of the great dishes, that are comfort food, and throw an egg on top, and then voila, you've got a breakfast food, and people really cottoned to it, and we had a ball doing it.
About 65% of sales are a classic breakfast plate: eggs, breakfast meat, pancakes, and so on.
We sell a lot of pancakes. And we don't do a sort of super over-the-top, get everything that you want inside of a pancake. I mean, it's just a really solid, super fluffy buttermilk pancake that people just love. I mean, we do offer, options for it, but we don't make a big deal about, what our pancake program is. We have done the abhorrent in my mind in adding things like chicken and waffles that people absolutely adore. Our breakfast skillet, we call it, is in where that came from is in my mind as a kid, when I would get when Mom would make mashed potatoes and meatloaf and peas. As a kid, my immediate thing would be to just chop up the meatloaf and then stir it all up in the plate and squirt some ketchup on it, and then eat it with a spoon. And so the skillet sort of came from that idea where we scramble together, a number of ingredients and roasted potatoes, and make this big sort of honking pile of breakfast. And they come in a number of different themes, but the big bad version of that, which is just either bacon or sausage scrambled with all those things, is sort of is item number 2.
Actually, the most popular item is coffee, which Currence hadn't given much thought about until the concept had grown to around 15 restaurants.
At that point, we went back to our vendor and said, hey, how much coffee do we have to sell in order for you to create, or for us to create a blend together that is specific, to BBB? And they said, well, you're well past that, so let's get to it. And so we began the process of blending a coffee that ultimately, I think is excellent. So much so that I'm somebody who has drunk coffee with milk my entire life, and I say that unapologetically. And I'm sorry to the coffee lovers of the world out there, who look at me as a Philistine in this moment. But I will tell you that, when we finished we call it crankshaft. Is our, it's the thing that will get you started in the morning.
So the coffee's well thought out. What about the breakfast meats?
We own the processing plant where everything is made, so we control everything about the process. So all of our sausages and bacons and ham, our smoked turkey breast, and now our chicken sausage come from a processing plant that we own in North Alabama. And and that's it speaks to that's something that, from the standpoint of a chef, that um, most folks would be really happy to go out and say, okay, well, I'm going to pay the money to get Alan Benton's bacon, and we're going to be able to advertise that we run Alan's, bacon. And we wanted to take it a step further than that. And so when we opened our second location and realized that we were going to have to be crossing state lines, that we couldn't just produce out of our little smokehouse in Oxford for the other stores as we were going forward. It just was not going to meet anybody's criteria for legality. And so this opportunity presented itself. We leaned into it. So for the last 12 years now, we have been building that business. The plant supplies a number of different people around the South with product. They produce all the brisket for a group called Torchy's Tacos, which is a massive account. But we've now become our own biggest customer, which is nice, and the business has grown enough that my partners have actually moved into a second location in Birmingham. So we now have two facilities that we're processing out of, which is great because that will continue to facilitate, our needs as we continue to grow.
Initially, the concept grew slowly. Currence teamed up with Fresh Hospitality, which had already scaled barbecue concept Jim and Nick's to scale Big Bad Breakfast. They opened their second location in Birmingham, Alabama in 2015 and had 5 restaurants by the time COVID hit. And then the concept took off.
We hit the accelerator pedal there in 21, and that's when the growth really began. And we've been on course with 5 or 6 stores a year sort of since then, which puts us where we are now. And and now we're looking to jump from 25 to 50, and that'll happen probably a lot. That will happen a lot faster than getting from 2 to 25.
But to do that, Currence stays focused on maintaining corporate culture.
What we talk about is, constantly is making people feel something, making a connection with people, being able to read and understand exactly what it is that they need as far as human connection goes, and giving them just what they need and only barely coming close to sort of putting our toe over the line with it. But that, every touch that they get, from the smile that they get when they hit the door, and the way that they're welcomed, to the way that they're responded to when there are special requests. We say that, no is not a word in our vocabulary. To walking them to the car if they're carrying a bag full of to-go stuff. The kind of things that make them feel cared for. And that's really the greater challenge. Because at the end of the day, that's the thing that sets us apart.